Each evening in Holy Week this year, we have been reading a poem to help our reflections. Our first poem for the 3 hours on Good Friday this afternoon is Here It Is, a poem or song by Leonard Cohen. It was first released 20 years ago on 10 New Songs, his 10th studio album, which was co-written and co-produced by Sharon Robinson and released in 2001. I first used this poem in a Lenten setting when I was asked to preach at the 3 hours devotion in St. Finbarr's Cathedral, Cork, by the then Dean, Bishop Michael Burrows, on Good Friday, the 9th of April 2004. This poem has the capacity to touch the reader or listener in painful places we do not care to search or reach. Leonard Cohen himself once said, "It's nice to write a catchy tune about death, but while some people may like poems that talk about blood, sweat and tears, I found out in Cork that Good Friday 17 years ago that many people are uncomfortable with some of the words in this poem. Yet, surely Christ must have suffered to this extreme of anxiety in Golgotha and must have emptied himself completely of all human fluids on the cross on Calvary." Who speaks in this poem? Whose voice do we hear? Who is singing? Who narrates within the lyrics? Is it God? Is it just Leonard Cohen? Is it his soul? Does it really matter? Some of those questions may be answered if we read this poem in the light of Lent and the journey towards Good Friday and Easter. Is this a legitimate way to read this poem? In his introduction to his Harvard lectures, The Use of Poetry and the Use of Criticism, T.S. Eliot wrote, "The poem's existence is somewhere between the writer and the reader. It has a reality which is not simply the reality of what the writer is trying to express or his experiences of writing it, or the experience of the reader, or of the writer as a reader. Consequently, the problem of what the poem means is a good deal more difficult than it first appears. But a poem is not just either what the poet planned or what the reader conceives, nor is its use restricted to what the author intended or what it actually does for readers. Some commentators say the speaker in this poem by Leonard Cohen is God. Others say the poet is speaking to himself at a point in life where death seems near, and he feels the need to collect his thoughts, recollect the past, and to face the future in truth. And here is your love that lists where it will." In this poem, God is taking an overview of a life and mixing in a bundle of opportunities in which a person has the opportunity to love. In each of these love, desire experiences, one has the opportunity to feel God's presence. In the first paired verses, 1 and 2, God is the King of the universe and Lord of the creation, and shows his majesty and his lordship through his love of all created things. Here is your crown and your seal and rings, and here is your love for all things. In verse 2, the cart is the human body in which Christ is incarnate and in which he moves around in God's royal domain, the cardboard, the weak and flimsy body of his suffering, and the pis, the loss of all human life in his dying. In his life, suffering, and death, he gives all in love for all. Here is your cart and your cardboard and pis, and here is your love for all of this. In the second pair of verses, verses 3 and 4, the wine in verse 3 mean our thoughts and spiritual ideas. But I find resonances with the wine of the Last Supper and imagery that reminds me of Christ falling under the weight of the cross on the Via Dolorosa for the sake of his love for all. Here is your wine and your drunken fall, and here is your love for it all. The sickness in verse 4 may be the love we have for each other, a love that may keep us away from loving God, and therefore perhaps defined as a sickness as it detracts us from our divine purpose, to love God first and then to love others. The bed and the pan also echo the Piz in the second verse. Here is your sickness, your bed and your pan, and here is your love for the woman, the man. In the 4 sets of 2 verses, the third line of each verse points to ways that we may love. But love is not mentioned in the third set of paired verses 5 and 6. Instead, we have the lines, and here is the night has begun, and here is your death in the heart of your son, and here is the dawn until death do us part, and here is your death in your daughter's heart. Instead of love, he uses the word death in the third lines of each of these 2 verses, emphasizing the depth of love a parent feels for a child, and so even deeper love God feels for us and his children in the death of Christ on the cross. Those verses reiterate the idea of the living and dying of every moment, the following of day with night and night with day. Night could represent ignorance and not knowing, but for mystics like John of the Cross and Teresa of Avila, the night is also the beginning of the mystic's journey towards communion and union with the Father, the I am who am. The Son must die in order for us to recognize his inherited unity with the Father. Night turns to dawn with the resurrection. Dawn is no longer night. The conscious is united with the unconscious, night with day and the soul with God. In the last 2 paired verses, 7 and 8, he warns us in verse 7 of hurried desire and reminds us of how we hurry because we long for something to be fulfilled or over or experienced. Instead, it is love on which everything is built and has its foundation. And here you are hurried, and here you are gone, and here is the love that it's all built upon. In the final closing verse, the reference to Christ's death when he is nailed on the cross on the hill of Calvary becomes the summation of the poem. Here is your cross, your nails, and your hill, and here is your love that lists where it will. The word lists in verse 8 may be a list of objects, names, or experiences, but to list is also to listen, and also to lean one way or the other, as when a boat leans to one side. Is he suggesting that our love may lean in different directions as time goes by, or that the love in each verse is different, listing or leaning in a different direction? The refrain after each paired set of verses says, "May everyone live and may everyone die. Hello, my love, and my love, goodbye." We keep living and dying each moment. May we just do this.
Here it is by Leonard Cohen. Here is your crown and your seal and your rings, and here is your love for all things. Here is your cart and your cardboard and piss, and here is your love for all of this. May everyone live and may everyone die. Hello, my love, and my love, goodbye. Here is your wine and your drunken fall, and here is your love for it all. Here is your sickness, your bed and your pan, and here is your love for the woman, the man. May everyone live and may everyone die. Hello, my love, and my love, goodbye. And here is the night has begun, and here is your death in the heart of your son. And here is the dawn until death do us part, and here is your death in your daughter's heart. May everyone live, and may everyone die. Hello, my love, and my love, goodbye. And here you are hurried, and here you are gone, and here is the love that it's all built upon. Here is your cross, your nails, and your hill, and here is your love that lists where it will. May everyone live, and may everyone die. Hello, my love, and my love, goodbye.